Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran. I'm glad a lot of you guys liked the PvP video I did on the Shadowlands beta, showing some of my games in the skirmishes. In this video, however, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to come up with a build where maybe as Outlaw you could go for a one-shot. A lot of you guys commented that the Outlaw rogue damage seemed a little underwhelming, and I agree with you. I feel like maybe that's something that I can improve upon. So in this video, I want to try to use all the toolkits available at the time of recording, like legendaries, for example, which seem to be a thing that Blizzard might actually keep for the PvP in this expansion until it just comes out to be super broken, which it inevitably will. I want to try to go for some big burst combo as Outlaw rogue, maybe potentially even call it a one-shot combo, but everybody has a different opinion on what a one-shot should be. It's definitely not going to be a one single global type of ability. However, I still wanted to see and test what kind of damage you can put out with Outlaw rogue in the next expansion. So, since legendaries are available in the next expansion, at least by the looks of it so far, and Blizzard could change this in the future, because these legendaries apply for a variety of very strong effects. There's a variety of classes that can benefit from different effects, like warlocks with almost a permanent slow, as long as you remember to refresh corruption on the enemy. The slow is like a 60% slow, so almost a perma slow for the rest of the arena. Or mages that have a nova that doesn't break to damage, which gives frost mages massive crits on all the frosty damage that they get to shatter on frozen targets. And then of course there's some legendaries that can increase damage of pets, damage of your certain abilities, and for rogues we have one that gives us a 100% critical strike. 100% crit and big eviscerates or dispatches and venoms, whichever the spec you choose, is going to be huge nonetheless. But for Outlaw in particular, there is going to be a mechanic that currently doesn't work right now, but could be amazing in the future. But still, the 100% crit is huge, and I want to see how good of damage that could totally do. Second thing is the one-shot aspect. Some people believe that one-shots should be totally only for abilities where it's a one global and then you just take down the enemy from 100 to 0. Some players say that one shots can be maybe like a sequence of abilities, but as long as it achieves the 100 to 0 in a short amount of time, it still counts as a one shot. So just to be transparent, this isn't going to be a single global ability. But the idea for here in this video is to go for a sequence of abilities and achieve this 100 to 0 very consistently. Now, this is going to be one of those things where the rogue can be stopped by other classes. You can use CC, you can pop a defensive. If there's an immunity, you should be using it in order to stop this damage. But if somebody doesn't do any of these, or maybe you lock someone down in a stun, which is going to be difficult with this build in particular because the combo points are all going to be fueled for damage here, then it's going to be possible, I think, in the arena situation, especially if you have play with other classes that can bring a stun and you can go for a cross CC with a blind, then you will be able to get your burst off every single time. So there is some form of consistency with a couple caveats here and there. The burst for the Outlaw rogue, at least right now as it looks, would be something along the lines of get your slice and dice established, get yourself a roll the bones, and build 5 combo points. Then pop a drone rush on the enemy, plunder their armor, vanish so you are in this 100% crit space, dispatch, mark for death, dispatch into a full-blown killing spree, into a blade flurry. Too bad the rogue proc cheat death, and too bad we no longer can boost our characters to level 60 on the beta, at least hopefully next week we might be able to. But as it stands, all I have is the footage from the good old days. And with cheat death, the ability reads, the next ability that would otherwise end you, instead it gives you a bit of health and a very powerful defensive in order for you to cheat death and escape a bad situation. But otherwise, if he didn't have cheat death, my ability of Blade Flurry would have been the finishing ability. So it's pretty safe to say that that would have been a 100 to 0 type of situation. However, our burst can be even better. If you think 100 to 0 was way too strong already and you already need to nerf this legendary in PvP, hold on, there's more. The benefit of Between the Eyes for Outlaw has been changed, so it's kind of like a mini Blood of the Enemy on a single target. Except that Blood of the Enemy debuff aspect just does not work currently. So, what this debuff would normally do is you would vanish, and instead of using a dispatch at the beginning of the fight, you would use Between the Eyes. Put in a debuff on the enemy where they're 20% more likely to be crit, which doesn't matter if you already have 100% crit, but also those crits do 20% more damage, and that's the aspect that simply just doesn't work currently and back then on the beta. So if you already think that a rogue can 100 to 0 somebody with a couple of abilities back to back to back in quick succession, adding a 20% damage increase to all those crits would make it even stronger. So potentially Outlaw rogues could have even bigger bursts available if anything. We also will be using Blade Flurry, yes I know, an ability for cleave, at the end of our rotation, mostly so we don't apply Blade Flurry into a killing spree, and if the enemy is, let's say, surrounded by allies, we're not cleaving all of them at once, but rather the Blade Flurry final hit does have a component now where it does do AoE damage to everybody around you. So that damage is actually so strong on single target, it's worth pressing even against one enemy. Another cool aspect of this playstyle is because Outlaw Rogue in particular has Restless Blades as a passive, where as you spend finishers in order to get abilities back faster, a 2-minute killing spree and a 2-minute vanish, which is part of your burst combo, actually becomes like a 1.5 minute killing spree and 1.5 minute CD on your vanish. So whereas Assassination and Subtlety would have to wait full 2 minutes before they have this 100% crit wombo combo, Outlaw Rogues can actually get that a little bit faster. And with having a shorter blind compared to the other specs, that's a lot more cross CC and burst potential that you can do in a 2v2 arena or even a 3v3 setting. So another question is, how reliable is this burst? It does definitely take on enemies by surprise, but if someone knows exactly what's gonna happen, well, you already know this ain't gonna work. But with some cross CC, like playing with another class that brings a stun, because as you saw as part of Burst, you actually have to spend every global into doing damage. Maybe Subtlety would have an easier time with cheap shots that you can control and apply yourself, or maybe going for Assassination with your internal bleeding. But Outlaw Rogue still does have the one benefit of the fact that you do get yourself a shorter vanish and a shorter killing spree, so more uptime on the bursts from time to time. So all you need is another class to help you set up a stun, or enemies that simply just don't expect it. And I tried to say just how much raw damage a single Outlaw Rogue can do to one enemy, and it was quite a bit of arenas. But I think there was one arena that I found out that was perfect in what I was trying to set up. In this 3v3 scenario, I am here with a Shadow Priest and a Holy Paladin versus a Fire Mage, a Survival Hunter, as well as a Holy Priest. Off the bat, I decide I'm going to go for the Mage. But a little later did I realize that the Mage was actually running a legendary that gives him 3 shields at once. One shield from the Arcane Mage tree, one shield from the Frost Mage tree, and one from the Fire Mage. That's quite a lot of absorb for me to go through, surprise, surprise. However, either way, I decided to go from a Vanish, Dispatch into Marfa, Dispatch, Killing Spree to fall right after into a Blade Flurry. And the amount of damage you're able to do to someone in that short window with all those extra shields is quite high. The next global for the Mage was to press his Time Warp rather than Ice Block. So you can't really control those types of situations. Simply mistakes happen. But that was quite a bit of damage that I really wanted to see of Outlaw, the potential for it. And with some cross CC and without those shields, because I don't think most mages will run the triple shield combo, this could potentially be a legitimate burst. I hope you guys found this video more than satisfactory. I just wanted to see and test the limits of the Outlaw Rogue. This is early version of the beta, so it hasn't been balanced by any measure. But even without much balancing by Blizzard, I feel that Outlaw Rogue are actually in a much better position than they are in BFA. In BFA, you can achieve decent numbers through a lot of corruptions and a lot of gear. Trust me, I've done it. But the amount of damage you can do right now in Shadowlands, while not something that blows enemies in just a few globals, which it really shouldn't. I mean, who would want to play a game where rogues can literally two-shot people? I think the damage we're doing is actually quite good. It's very sustained focused and sustained based. We're more about sitting on the enemy setting up. But the extra wound poison that we get with this expansion does add us a little bit extra pressure as we deny healing to an enemy. We also do get quite a bit of CC with your kidney shots. When Between the Eyes as an ability properly works, then I think we'll have even more burst potential, because we've only been playing with half of our toolkit. The Roll the Bones and Slice and Dice together are actually quite easy to manage, and with this 100% crit type of combo, you could make some kind of a burst happen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about this burst, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.